You know her as Elizabeth Shaw, the intrepid scientist who makes a brief appearance in Ridley Scott's Alien Covenant after starring in its predecessor Prometheus. But the woman who plays her, Swedish actress Noomi Rapace, has been heating up Hollywood since her breakout in 2009. Here are all the places you've seen her before. The Millennium Trilogy. Thanks to director David Fincher and a $90 million Hollywood budget, you've probably heard of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and its titular protagonist, the brooding, tattooed Lisbeth Salander. But 2 years before Rooney Mara earned an Oscar nomination for playing Stieg Larsson's heroine, Noomi Rapace played the role to great acclaim in her native Sweden. In fact, it's unlikely that Lisbeth Salander would have ever gotten a big-budget outing in mainstream Hollywood if the Swedish actress hadn't turned in such a stunner of a performance first. While The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is pretty much a household name, Stieg Larsson's Millennium book series was actually adapted as a trilogy. Noomi Rapace reprised her role as Lisbeth Salander in 2 more movies, The Girl Who Played with Fire and The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. All told, Rapace spent a full year playing Lisbeth, a performance that resulted in 3 feature films, 6 television episodes worth of raw material, and rave reviews across the board. However, once she was done, she was really done. In an interview with NPR, the actress said, quote, "It was kind of strange. You know, the last day, after we filmed the last scene, all the producers came with champagne and everybody wanted to celebrate. And I just said, I need to go to the bathroom, and I just started to throw up. It was like my body was physically throwing Lisbeth out." End quote. The Monitor. Compared to Rapace's work in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the Swedish horror film The Monitor was pretty low profile, except in Sweden. But fans of the genre will recognize it, and more importantly, its leading lady for her pitch-perfect performance as a woman on the brink of insanity. The Monitor is an understated slow burner featuring the creepiest home appliance ever, the baby monitor. Rapace is memorable as a traumatized single mother who just wants to listen to her kid while he sleeps, but gets an earful of something sinister instead. Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows. For those who hadn't already discovered Noomi Rapace via the Dragon Tattoo trilogy, there was no missing her in her big-budget debut alongside Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. Rapace played Madame Simza in Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows, channeling her trademark ferocity into the role of a Romani gypsy woman who gets caught up in a deadly conspiracy, spearheaded by Sherlock's arch-nemesis Moriarty. And her performance is doubly impressive because she had to cross a huge language barrier to do it. Rapace revealed in an interview, quote, "I didn't speak English like 3 years ago, and for me to find a way to be free and be able to live in this language, instead of feeling like you're stuck in this prison of control where you can do perfect lines but you can't improvise and you can't ad-lib, after a week I'd forgotten about it. It's the way they work. Those boys are fantastic." End quote. Dead Man Down. Of course, you recognize Noomi Rapace from Prometheus, but after leaving the Alien franchise, Noomi Rapace reunited with Niels Arden Oplev, the man who helmed the original Swedish The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, for Dead Man Down. In addition to Rapace, Dead Man Down also boasts a cast that includes Colin Farrell, Dominic Cooper, and Terrence Howard. Unfortunately, despite all that star power, the movie itself wasn't particularly well received by anyone. One critic at Variety called it revenge fantasy dreck and a derivative collection of brazen plot holes and late-night cable cliches. The Drop. Adapted by Dennis Lehane from his own short story Animal Rescue, The Drop is a quiet film noir about crime, vengeance, and decent men who do very bad things in the basements of Brooklyn bars. And for Noomi Rapace, it presented a serious challenge, namely having to hold her own on screen against not just Tom Hardy, who'd just become super famous after doing Inception and The Dark Knight Rises back-to-back, but also the world's most adorable pit bull puppy. Child 44. Perhaps thanks to her incredible chemistry with Tom Hardy in The Drop, Noomi Rapace turned up immediately in another movie with the British actor, this time as his wife in the Soviet-era thriller Child 44. In it, Hardy plays disgraced Stalin security officer Leo Demidov, who tries to track a serial killer against the wishes of his government. Though this film didn't get as much attention as some of Rapace's other projects thanks to a limited release in the US, everyone turned in solid performances that made for a tense, effective political thriller, even if everyone in it struggles occasionally with their Russian accents. Thanks for watching! Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.